Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, I'm Beaumont, founder and CEO of Business Blueprint, and welcome to Build My Brand. We're with international branding expert Debbie O'Connor, and in this interview, we're going to be talking about how to discover your brand personality. And what we're going to do is spend quite a bit of time going through the 12 different brand personality types and helping you to discover which one is going to be right for your particular business. Debbie, welcome back.
Thank you, Dale.
All right, so a brand personality, what is it all about?
Right. So ever since time began, people have been telling stories. Stories around the campfire, stories told from father to son, stories in the Bible, fairy tales. We all love a good story. And there are certain personalities that keep popping up in these stories, whether it is the sweet innocent maiden or the hero that comes in to save her, whether it's a magician or a fairy, whether it's a wise old man or woman imparting knowledge. These are personality traits that we actually easily identify with and tend to gravitate towards. So building a brand personality is pretty much taking those personality attributes and applying them to a brand so that people naturally gravitate towards your brand.
Okay, we've got a picture here. Do you want to just talk to us a bit about why you've chosen this one?
Yeah, look, you know what? When you have something that has a little bit more personality, it's quite quirky. So here we have the entertainer right in the middle here, a little bit fun and frivolous, light-hearted. We've got the innocent maiden over on the side who is sort of looking around and trying to find her way, but needs a little bit of guidance. So we've got the ruler, the queen who rules over everything and dictates and tells everybody what's going on. So you can start seeing these personality types popping up. And when you apply them to a business, it makes the business so much more interesting.
Now, where do brand personality fit in? Because in other interviews, we've been talking about the actual strategy. So when it comes to brand personality, it's a component of your strategy. But does it come at the beginning, or is it something that you do kind of later on down the track, maybe after your logos and all of your other collateral? When do you actually do this?
First off. So this is the first step that you actually need to know, because you need to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, how can you create your story and everything else that goes with your brand? So you need to be very, very clear about the message that you're going to give, how you're going to give it. And by knowing the personality, you actually have an avenue in which to do it.
Now, when you say you got to know who you are, am I talking about Dale Beaumont, the person who owns the actual business, or am I talking about the business entity, which for me is my company, Business Blueprint? Which way am I actually going?
Really good question, because this is where a lot of people get stuck. If you're building your own personal brand, it is about Dale. All right, that is all about your own personal brand, and you then need to look at your own personal characteristics and how you can authentically get that across.
So you could be a consultant, maybe a personal trainer.
Absolutely.
Even if you could be a tradesperson, but you're running your business under your personal name.
That's exactly right.
So you're going to look at this from your own personal beliefs and personality and perspective.
Yeah, a lot of motivational speakers would do it, TV hosts, that type of thing. They really are the whole business. They are the brand. So they would then apply the brand personality to themselves.
Okay.
If it's a business on its own, the ultimate thing that you want to build with your brand is that if you ever removed yourself from it, the brand personality can still stand on its own. It is not dependent on you as the personality.
If you look at Steve Jobs, even though he's passed away,
Perfect
his
example.
values are still very much a part of
Very
Apple
much
today.
part of it. And so even though he is no longer here, Apple can still run with the same ethics and morals and integrity and wanting to be innovators in their field. So they can do that without Steve Jobs being there. And that is where, if you've got a strong brand personality, you can build that brand whether you are in your business or not.
Okay, so why is it so important that we have this conversation about this brand personality? Why is it so important?
Well, you get to know people, and when they have certain traits, you like them or you dislike them. And the same goes with a brand. If you have a brand personality that you can align yourself to and go, you know what, I really like what they're doing, I really get a good vibe and a good feel, you're more likely to use them than use somebody else. And in this day and age, there is so much competition out there. So if you're able to set yourself apart from other businesses, then that's going to really, you know, help your business and grow your customer base. We do have a slide for the Body Shop.
Yep. We can, fast forward to that now. Just before we get to that one, a quick question. When you've said when we gravitate towards people, we like them or we dislike them, I know what people are thinking watching this, but I want everybody to like me. I don't want to create any enemies. What would you say to those people that are scared about maybe losing some people by actually picking a brand personality?
Yeah. Look, the reality is we all have different target audiences. You cannot be all things to all people. And the sooner you realize that in business, the better your brand can be positioned. All right. So, for example, you might actually be targeting over 55s. Now, they are going to speak and be spoken to in a very different way to if you were dealing with 20-year-olds. Now, those 20-year-olds will one day be 55-year-olds. Yes, absolutely. But you're not speaking to them right now. So don't worry if they are not focused on you. You need to focus on your target audience. And even though it's appealing to wanting to be all things to all people, you can't be that. It's just not possible. You're going to spread yourself too thin, your message is going to get diluted, and you're not going to be able to focus on the core values and the core beliefs and the core message that you have for your customers.
All right, great. Now, you've got the picture of the Body Shop. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll go back and talk about where the brand personalities actually came from. But why have you got this picture up here?
Okay, so the Body Shop is a really good example of a business that has built their brand on a really strong philosophy of not harming animals in the production of all of their products, okay? And now they're taking it one step further, and it's all about earth, whole earth. It's not just animals. It's about plants and nature and animals. And so they're really positioning themselves with a very strong ethic and moral positioning, so that when people are looking for makeup or products, that they're going to go, well, you know what, I could use soap that's been derived from some animal fat, or I can have soap that is natural, that hasn't hurt any animal or in the process of producing it. And that becomes a moral, ethical thing for the consumer. Then they go, I want to align myself with a Body Shop because I like the fact that what I'm going to be taking is all natural, and ethically derived.
All right, now we're going to get into the brand personalities in a lot more detail. There's 12 of them, and we'll talk about each one and give some real-life examples of companies that many people would know and recognize in each of those categories. But where do these brand personalities come from?
Right, so they originally started with Carl Jung, who was a psychologist, and he pretty much studied thousands and thousands of different personality types. And when he whittled it down, he was able to come up with what he called 12 personality archetypes. So they're based on these 12 archetypes that keep coming up in the stories that we tell each other, keep coming up as personality traits that people gravitate towards. And so everything that we've built around brand personalities is derived from what Carl Jung has originally come up with.
All right, fantastic. And you mentioned before, and I just wanted to really make that point again. You can't be all things to all people. You can't have a bit of all 12 mixed together. Why do you have to actually, pick and decide?
Okay, so I think when we look at humans, if you had one person who had 12 different types of personality types and you had to deal with them, you would be completely overwhelmed. You wouldn't know what they are on a particular day, and you just don't know how to actually manage that.
I think there's even a word for that.
Schizophrenic. That's it. So you don't want your brand to be schizophrenic. You want people to be able to know that when they go to your brand, if you're the caregiver, that you are naturally nurturing. And you can't have a caregiver that suddenly turns into a hero and is suddenly competitive and a warrior and cheering you on. It just doesn't make sense. And so by finding out what your personality is, it means that people will align to that and go, okay, I get what they're saying, I get their message, and you know what, it's consistent, and I want to be part of that because that personality aligns with me. And you know what, they won't even know it's a personality. It is all subconscious. It is about talking to them in a language, in a way that they know how to connect with, because people know how to connect with people. It's a lot harder for people to connect with businesses because it's not a person. But if you create a story and you create a personality and you give them something to connect to, that is going to make it so much stronger.
Okay, so that's an important distinction there. It's not something that you advertise. You don't put a sign on your front door and say, now I'm the entertainer. It's really just infused in everything that you do, all the things that we discussed in previous episodes. Then this kind of runs through everything. Is that what you're saying?
100%. So if you were to say to somebody, I'm the innocent or I'm the entertainer, they're not going to know what you're talking about because they're actually not versed or educated in the different personality types.
But subconsciously, there's a familiarity to it. Is that correct?
That's exactly it. So people will recognize the language or what you're trying to say and the visual imagery that connects everything together. So subconsciously, you are creating this persona towards your brand that sometimes people, they don't understand why they're attracted to a brand. They just are. And that's the subconscious side of it that, when you look at a company like Nike, they are the hero brand because they are a competitor and a warrior for you and a champion, and they want to see you succeed. And people align themselves with that. Do they know that they're the hero brand? No, they don't. But they understand the traits that go with the brand.
All right, well, I'm very intrigued now, and we're going to go through them in a lot more detail. We're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we're going to go through all 12 of our brand personalities or archetypes, as it was originally phrased. And we're going to go through 6, and then we're going to go through another 6, and we're going to give you real-life examples of companies that you would know under each of these 12 different categories. And then we'll talk a bit about how to come up with which one, or maybe 2, are right for you and your business. Keep watching. Welcome back to Build My Brand. We're talking about how to discover your brand personality. And in just a few moments' time, we're going to get into the brand personalities. There are 12 of them. We're going to explain to you what they are, and we're going to help you to discover which one may be right for your business. Now, Debbie, I want to actually start there because I know the moment we start going through these 12, people's brains are going to be racing, going, which one am I, which one am I? And thinking, I'm this, and then they're going to hear another one go, no, I'm that. What lens should they be looking at this through? Should they be looking at which one am I, or which one do I want to be, or which one is right for the business? How do we kind of make this decision about which one we're going to choose?
Good question, because it's not easy. So naturally, you want to go towards your own personality. What you need to look at is it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. So, for example, there are many dentists out there, and they're all doing the same thing. They're filling teeth, pulling teeth, But how the dentist chooses to do it can completely change their brand. And I'll give you an example. This particular dentist, when you go in to visit, does not wear a lab coat. He wears a coat, absolutely, but it's brightly colored with a matching headpiece. When you arrive, you get to choose your glasses. So he has a tray of all these really cool, funky sunglasses. So instead of the boring old plastic ones that you put on, you now have a choice.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.